They told you to be humble, to play nice, to stay quiet. They said it's better to be accepted than to be feared. But Friedrich Nietzsche said otherwise. He said, "You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, it does not exist." This is not a man who wrote for approval. He wrote to unsettle, to awaken, to strip away illusions and tear down the comfort of blind obedience. They tried to bury him as mad, misunderstood, irrelevant. But what they feared was how close he came to revealing the truth. Because Nietzsche didn't just question the world, he attacked it. And in doing so, he became one of the most dangerous minds of his time. He asked questions you're not supposed to ask. What if morality isn't holy? What if religion is just a tool? What if the greatest danger isn't chaos, but conformity? He once said, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe." And that's still true today. The moment you think for yourself, truly, independently, you are marked as a threat. Society is built on safety, predictability, systems that reward the agreeable and punish the disruptive. But Nietzsche refused to be domesticated. Nietzsche was never insane. He was awake in a sleeping world. He watched humanity worship comfort. He saw men trade their will for peace, their ambition for applause, their power for permission. He saw the sickness of modern man, a sickness not of the body, but of the spirit. He called it by its name, decay. Not loud, not violent, but slow, smiling decay, dressed in virtue, pretending to be progress. He saw how society taught men to obey, not to think, to follow, not to question, to believe, but never to know, and worst of all, to live by values they never chose. He called them herd animals, creatures of the crowd, afraid to stand alone, afraid to offend. But Nietzsche chose the mountain. He spoke of the Übermensch, the one who climbs beyond man, beyond tribe, beyond guilt and shame. Not a superhero, not a tyrant, but a man who dares to create his own values, a man who is self-authored. The Übermensch doesn't complain. He doesn't wait. He builds. He chooses to rise, even when the world wants him small. Nietzsche didn't admire weakness dressed as virtue. He saw through it. He said, "Everything that is done for love occurs beyond good and evil." That love, not the sentimental kind, but the raw, creative force of will, is what separates the herd from the creator. But Nietzsche's philosophy is not for the faint of heart. It demands that you leave behind your crutches, your justifications, your excuses. It requires you to face the void and then create something stronger. Most people can't do that. That's why they mock him. That's why they distort his words. Because deep down, they know he was right. They want a world of soft rules and simple answers. Nietzsche gave them neither. He offered only a mirror, and most were too afraid to look. He once said, "The snake which cannot shed its skin must die." That's the cost of evolution. You must let go of safety, of comfort, of the person you were trained to be. His life reflected this. He was sick, alone, dismissed, but he never stopped writing, never stopped fighting. His mind remained sharper than the scalpels of his doctors, his words more enduring than the institutions that ignored him. He understood power, not political power, not military power, but the deeper kind, power over the self, the ability to suffer and still choose to rise, the ability to be alone and still be complete, the ability to stand in front of the world and say, "I do not need your approval." You can see Nietzsche's fingerprints in every rebel, every artist, every quiet thinker who refused to kneel. His influence lives on in silence, in solitude, in the minds of those who will not be broken. He said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." If you have a purpose, if you have the courage to define your own values, then you are already stronger than those who merely follow. But that kind of strength, it terrifies the world. The obedient will call you selfish, the soft will call you arrogant, the blind will call you lost. But you must walk anyway, because Nietzsche's legacy is not in what he destroyed, but what he built, a philosophy of fire, of self-overcoming, of radical inner truth. He warned us that morality can be a cage, that tradition can be a trap, that pity can become poison. He taught that the highest act of rebellion is to think for yourself, and the highest form of courage is to live by that thought. And still, they mock him. Still, they try to reduce him to slogans. Still, they say he was mad. But madness is often just clarity that no one else is ready for. Nietzsche burned through the lies. He left nothing untouched. And in the ashes, he left an invitation to rise, to overcome, to become who you were meant to be before the world got its hands on you. You are not here to obey. You are not here to conform. You are here to rise above the mediocre, the predictable, the programmed. You are here to create your own code, to find your own voice, to stare into the abyss and not flinch, because the abyss stares back. And if you are weak, it devours you. But if you are strong, it becomes your reflection. Nietzsche didn't want followers. He wanted creators. So don't follow him. Become what he pointed to. The free mind, the independent soul, the silent force. Your chains are not physical. They are psychological. Break them. Your limits are not real. They are inherited. Shatter them. And your greatness, it is not out there. It is buried beneath layers of conditioning. Unearth it. This world is not fair, not honest, not built for the strong. But you weren't born to fit in. You were born to rise. And when you do, they will call you dangerous. They will say you've changed. Let them. Because as Nietzsche taught, the greatest revenge is not anger. It is becoming what they said you never could. And that is the silent revolution. The one they never see coming. The one that rewrites everything. You.